Welcome back, guys, to the last session of 2.5 hours. Okay, so now just one more minute and we'll start our session. Hope others will also join without wasting much time. Okay, so now let's discuss on the voting on the demand for these grants. So, as we discussed earlier, the budget is broken down into various parts and is sent to all these committees, right? Various committees, the DRSCs. These committees prepare reports and they send back these reports with their conclusion on how good or bad a scheme is. So let's say we have say the demands of say Ministry of Education. It has made some demands. Ministry of Defense has made some demands, etc. Now what happens is when the DRSC reports are tabled, laid down in the House, discussions take place on these reports and cut motions are used. Now what is a cut motion? Cut motion, as the name suggests, is a motion to reduce the demand made by a ministry. So every single penny that you take out from CFI needs to be approved ultimately by the parliament or the Lok Sabha to be exact. So the ministers, when they make these demands, that Minister of Education wants 10,000 crore rupees to be spent on certain scheme, the House discusses it. The Lok Sabha will discuss it and will then collectively say, okay, yes, take the money. And that is how we keep on approving it. So what happens is, let's assume that there is a scheme of the Ministry of Education. Ministry of Education says that, in our country, the kids are in the midday meal scheme are not getting sufficient protein in the diet, and we want to start a new scheme. That scheme is Pradhan Mantri Bodybuilder Yojana. This scheme would mean what? We will give one scoop of protein powder to every kid in the school. And for that, please give us 10,000 crore rupees. This is the demand. Now, once this demand is being discussed, the Pradhan Mantri Bodybuilder Yojana is being discussed in the house. See, there is no such Yojana. Okay, it is just an example. Don't tell me today, sir, where is this Yojana? I want protein powder. There is no such bodybuilder Yojana. But anyway, so if there is a scheme, the concerned minister wants 10,000 crore rupees for this scheme. When this money is demanded in the house, the MPs in Lok Sabha can say, see, minister, why do you want to give one scoop of protein powder? That's too much. Rather, why don't we just give half a scoop of protein powder? What would a kid do with 28 grams of protein powder? Right? If we can reduce this one scoop into half a scoop, we will be able to save 5,000 crore rupees. So giving one scoop is waste of money. So the MPs will raise a cut motion, a proposal to reduce the demand by a certain amount, right? If that motion is passed, then the demand is reduced by that certain amount. That is called economy cut motion. It represents wasteful expenditure, and if it is passed, the demand may be reduced by a specific amount. In this case, the example, the demand will be reduced by rupees 5,000. Did we understand what is economy cut motion? No doubts? Okay, no doubt. Great. Then, now also I'll give you a parallel explanation. Let's say you want a mobile phone. You go to your father and say, Dad, I want an iPhone 15 Pro Max, which is coming in the market. It'll cost only 1.5 lakh rupees. Please give me the money. Now your father says, what are you going to do with that iPhone 15 Pro Max? Why don't you take an iPhone only? There's no need to take the Pro version. Take the basic version. So your father is not rejecting your demand. He says, rather than purchasing the Pro model, why don't you purchase the basic model? It will save you a lot of money. So your demand has been accepted but has been reduced by a specific amount. Clear? Economy cut motion. We want to reduce any wasteful expenditure. Now, second thing is a token cut motion. What is a token cut motion? Now, on hearing the situation in your house, how your father has agreed to give you a mobile phone, your mom comes running and says, wait, wait, wait. Don't give him or her any mobile phone. I am telling you, you will purchase a phone for him or her, and he or she will never study. Will always be making videos, watching YouTube shorts, reels, etc., and will make cringe-worthy videos. Right? Please don't purchase a phone for him. Don't buy anything for her. But since you are crying so much, your father says, no, no, let it be. And then your mom says, see, if you are buying it, you are responsible. Tomorrow, don't tell me that why did he fail in the examination. You are responsible for his failure in the examination. Clear? Okay? So your mom has no control over spending of money. But she is saying that in future, if things go wrong, I will then point out it was your mistake. You should not have purchased the mobile phone. Clear? This is called a token cut motion. Nothing actually matters here, but in the parliament, in the Lok Sabha, if some MPs say, what is this protein powder yojana? Useless scheme. Why do you want this scheme? This scheme is only going to affect the kids. Why do kids need proteins? 25 grams of protein? Not required. This scheme is bad. in future, if there is a kidney damage, uric acid increase in the kids' bodies, or any other problem in the kids, please don't tell us, don't blame us. We are telling you. The opposition MPs can say, government, we are telling you, you are the majority in the Lok Sabha, you are trying to get it approved through your MPs. But we are telling you, this scheme is bogus, it's a wrong scheme, don't approve it. But because the opposition, which will raise a concern, they are very few in number, they can never stop our scheme from being passed. So they just want to ventilate their grievance, get their grievance registered. That, see, we have told you we don't like this scheme. So that in future, if things go wrong, the opposition can say, see, we told you 4 years back, we raised a motion also, token cut motion. We are telling you don't launch the scheme. But now see, in our country, there are only bodybuilders everywhere. No normal human being is there. So all these things can be raised. So here, whatever is the demand amount, 10,000 crores, from that amount, 100 rupees is subtracted. Now, if you are taking out 10,000 crore rupees and somebody takes away 100 rupees from that, how does it matter? It has no effect. No effect whatsoever on your demand, on your money. But that's not the point. The point here is, as the opposition, just a token sum, right? Token. We have raised our concerns with that scheme. We want our concern to be registered so that in future there is no question raised on our behavior that, see, opposition, you also did not do anything and the government spent and wasted 10,000 crore rupees. Clear? This is called token cut motion. But anyway, what if the entire Lok Sabha, the MPs say, what is this budget that you have made? What is this nonsense? Every scheme, what is this scheme, this scheme, this scheme? Every scheme is bogus. It's all a bogus budget only. It's a pro-rich budget meant only for rich people, right? Nothing in it for the poor. This entire budget is only wrong. If the Lok Sabha questions or shows disapproval against the underlying budget policy only, that entire budget is bad, what kind of budget have you prepared? Useless fellows. You'll be just wasting money. And then the Lok Sabha says, government, how much money do you want? Government says, we want 120 lakh crore rupees, or maybe 40 lakh crore, whatever. We want this much money, please. 40 lakh crores. Please give us the money. The Lok Sabha says, oh, you want 100 lakh crores, you want 40 lakh crores, come here. Take 1 rupee, go enjoy. Go, spend it. If approved, the total demand will be reduced to rupee 1 from your total demand that you are making of 50 lakh crores, 40 lakh crores. The demand is reduced to 1 rupee. Right? Right? So the point is, if the government is given 1 rupee to spend in the next 1 year, financial year, meaning April to March, if the government is given only 1 rupee to spend in the entire 1 year, how will the government spend money? Right? How will it give salaries? How will it win wars? How will it purchase defense weapons? Of course, if government is Shivaji the boss, then it can do anything with 1 rupee also. Yes or no? But nobody is Rajnikant. And this is a problem, that the government has actually nothing. But the bigger concern is, how can a budget brought by the ruling party in the Lok Sabha not be passed? How can this disapproval of policy cut motion be passed? How? So, disapproval of policy cut motion can only be passed if the ruling party MPs are also not liking the budget. This means that there is some scope or question being raised of confidence motion required, because or else we do not see it ever happening. Yes or no? So this is with respect to various cut motions. So normally these things will never happen. Sometimes an economy cut motion can take place. Otherwise, all the demands are slowly and steadily approved by the government, by the ruling party and the MPs in the Lok Sabha, because they know very well the ruling party has the majority. Why to create a concern here? Nothing would seem to work. That's it. Okay. Uh, Nandi Shappa, why not SEP? What is SEP? I don't know. When will this happen? Which month? Sir, the houses have come to meet in the month of April. Oh, I have erased this. So houses come to meet in the month of March. Remember, in the class before the break, half an hour ago only, I had mentioned that the houses reassemble in on 12 on the 13th of March. In the month of March, this discussion is happening in the Lok Sabha. Okay, in the month of March, because the budget for the next year is meant for 1st of April to 31st of March. Are we clear? Everybody. Karan, why 100 rupees? Karan, this 100 can be 50 also. Then you'll ask why 50 rupees. If it is 80, you'll ask why 80 rupees. Any random amount has been chosen as a token because this 100 rupees has no value, right? Okay. Nandi Shappa, why not zero? Again, the same kind of question. If you say why not zero, somebody can say why not 5 rupees? Why not 10 rupees? Some amount has been chosen, right? Okay. It's a token amount chosen. The amount is of no concern. The underlying logic is of concern. You are trapped in the amount. Why 100? Why 1? No, that's not the question. The correct question should be what are we doing? What is the purpose of this? So, the purpose of token cut motion is to raise a genuine concern against a scheme that we don't like this scheme, we don't want to give you money. The purpose of disapproval of policy cut motion is to raise a concern against the entire budget only, that your entire budget is bogus, you are going to waste money, we don't want to give you money. Okay. No, Ganesh, this will never happen. This can only happen in a coalition government, and there also it never happens. Dinesh, is it possible to modify budget after published? What is after published? In the Gazette? No, it can be modified. It is modified, right? A lot of changes can be made. Tax changes are made normally. Sometimes, like a very famous thing was in 2012, there was this budget passed by the Congress, and in that budget, brought by Congress. Mukul Roy was the then railway minister, and in that budget, Mukul Roy raised the or proposed to raise the fees, or rather the tariff of the railways. So in our country, railways traveling through railway is very cheap. The tickets are very cheap. In fact, in some cases, it's free also, right? Without ticket traveling. So he had raised the charges, the fees, the tariff, the ticket prices. And when you raise the ticket prices, the entire country is going crazy. How can we pay so much extra money? So an AC ticket which costs 1300 rupees, for example, was now costing 1305 rupees. People went crazy. How can I pay extra 5 rupees? Useless government, stupid government, right? So you know how people are. When you give things free, oh, they lap it up like anything. Of course, most people are not taxpayers, so they don't appreciate or understand that this freebie that is being given by any party is actually something that could have been used to develop infrastructure and provide for jobs in future. Some freebies are required, but not so many freebies. Anyway, so yes, sometimes when the budget is presented, rollbacks, that's called rollback also happens. Are we clear, everybody? So these are cut motions. Omkar, what is collision? No, it is not collision, Omkar. Coalition government. So what is a coalition government? If let us say BJP has 250 seats in the Lok Sabha, Congress has 250 seats in the Lok Sabha, and DMK has 43 seats in the Lok Sabha. Congress and DMK come together to form the government. So we will say that there is a coalition government because no party is able to get the majority, that is 272 seats on its own, hence coalition government. Okay, Amit, did you just join the session right now? Please don't lie, tell me the truth. I will address your concern, but I want to know the truth. Did you join just now? Nandi Shapa, please wait. When you have your doubt, you want it resolved, so do others. I saw this statement second time from you that, sir, ignore doubts, go ahead. No, we can't do this, right? Your doubts are important, others' doubts are not important. That's wrong. So very nice, Amit. Anyway, I said I will not scold you for this. No problem. So just to summarize everything once again, voting on demands, cut motions, but don't do this, guys. If you join late, please don't ask you to repeat everything. These demands that are made by ministries, right? Economy cut motion says if some ministers or some MPs feel that no, the government is wasting too much money, right? Then they can raise a proposal saying don't waste this much money. We are only going to give you 5,000 crores instead of your demand of 10,000 crores. Your demand is reduced, not rejected, reduced. Token cut motion is raised by the opposition parties normally when they have no say in passing the budget. Why? Because in the Lok Sabha, ruling party has majority. They will get everything approved by their MPs. But the opposition wants to get their grievance addressed somewhere. That see, we don't like this scheme. You are forcing it on us through your brute majority. So token cut motion. The demand for the scheme is reduced by 100 rupees. So if the demand is 10,000 crores, we will reduce 100 rupees to make it 9,900 whatever, all these crores. And then disapproval of policy cut motion, right? So this is where the entire Lok Sabha rejects the budget only, says stupid budget, useless budget, throw it out. And they tell the government, how much do you want? Right? And then the government says 40 lakh crores. And the Lok Sabha says, come on, take 1 rupee, go enjoy. Right? Like Adi from Shivaji the Boss. I hope this point is clear now. Now, all these demands are slowly and steadily, one by one, discussed and voted. Discussed and voted. So the process used is closure motion. Not important. I'm just explaining it for your understanding. So what is this closure motion? Let us say again, Ministry of Education has some schemes. Ministry of Defense has some schemes. Ministry of Petroleum has some schemes. Now, what happens is the scheme number 1 discussion is being done, pros and cons discussed, and then the speaker says, guys, should we vote? Yes or no? House says ayes, approved. Move on, next scheme. Guys, after discussion, should we approve this money? House says ayes, approved. Now, this Voting on matter takes place after debate is complete. Simple closure. We are closing the demands, approving the demands. Clear? Now, second thing, sometimes because ultimately the budget needs to be passed before the 31st of March so that by 1st of April the government starts spending money, right? So to also increase the speed, and sometimes couple of schemes are very close to each other, interrelated, so we can group them into one category only and we can approve them together. So now we'll ask, guys, should we approve both these schemes together? And the MPs say ayes, approved. Should we approve these three schemes together? Ayes, approved. So this is called closure by compartment. The clauses of a bill or a lengthy proposal are grouped into various parts before commencement of the debate, and the entire part is put to vote after debate. Okay, grouping various schemes and programs. Then also tell me, every year there are so many schemes. Say Narega only. Narega is not a new scheme. This scheme has been going on since such a long period of time, 2009 onwards. So why do you have to discuss the pros and cons of the scheme? I mean, if there's a new scheme, then okay. But an old scheme, you still want to keep on discussing the pros and cons, it makes no sense, right? That is why the scheme which are unimportant or scheme which are the old schemes which continue, we can skip the discussion, we can assume it is approved only. So we discuss this, jump to this, then jump to this, discuss this, we will assume that these are passed, okay, no problem. We'll jump to this, get it passed, jump to this, get it passed, this will assume it is passed, no problem. Then jump to this, get it passed, jump to this, get it passed, jump here, get it passed, jump here, approve these two together, get it approved, so on and so forth. This hopping from one scheme to another, right? That is what is called kangaroo closure. Only important clauses are taken up for debate and voting, and the intervening clauses, the clauses in between, the schemes in between are approved, okay, are taken as approved. That is called kangaroo closure, like a kangaroo hops, kangaroo closure. Now, lastly, if there is no time left and MPs are getting bored, yes, enough of technical discussion on all these schemes and programs. Come on, bring the caste debate, bring the religion debate, create divide. I mean, sorry, discuss on these issues in the country. So they will say, guys. So finally, speaker says, okay, okay, don't cry. Should we approve the entire demands together? House says, yes, sir, please approve together as soon as possible. So everything is approved together. Debate is cut short and the matter is put to vote. Guillotine closure. These are various closure motions. Types of closure motions. Are we clear, everybody? Tell me, any doubts? Oh, Azhar, great, amazing. Very clear. So I would presume that others also have understood. Anyway, this closure motion is of no importance. So all the demands have been approved in the which house? All the demands so far have been approved in which house? Tell me. Okay, Lok Sabha. Raj Sabha has no control over all these demands. Raj Sabha is sitting quietly and discussing some other things only. Okay. Now, once all the demands are approved, then what happens? The government brings all the demands again. Demand for grants, granting money, right? Which was approved in the previous few days. That demand is brought again, and the charge expenditure which was discussed originally, right? In the original initial stages, it is brought together in the form of a bill, and that bill is called appropriation bill. Now, appropriation bill is an important one. It is this bill which, when passed, allows the parliament, or sorry, allows the government to take out money from CFI. Once this bill is passed, the government gets the power to take out money from CFI. Okay. Once passed, after, of course, president's assent, government can appropriate money from CFI. Okay. And please tell me one more thing, a small point here. In this case, when such a bill is sent to the president, what veto powers can he use? Or tell me, what veto powers can he not use? Okay, Dinesh, correct. Kambapati, correct. What veto powers can he not use? Only one veto power can't be used, and the president cannot return the bill, meaning no suspensive veto. And one more thing, when this appropriation bill is brought, you cannot have any modifications. No modification is permitted in this particular bill. This has to be passed. You can pass it, you can reject it, you can't modify it. Can be passed or rejected, but no modifications. Clear? And see, Rajya Sabha has no power. So once this bill is brought in the Rajya Sabha, they'll just look at the bill and say, okay, okay, very good, amazing. Because what power do they have? After 14 days, anyway, this bill will be passed. So they simply return the bill back. Take it. Don't waste our time. Thank you so much. Okay, great, amazing. Tata, bye bye. That's what the Rajya Sabha says. This is what allows the government to take out money from the what? CFI. Demand for grants is not mentioned in the constitution, Dinesh. Just to give you a brief on charge expenditure, what exactly are the elements of charge expenditure? So you should know the salary and allowances of the president, the salary allowances of presiding and deputy presiding officers, salaries and allowances of judges of Supreme Court, including their pension, and the salary allowance of CAG. All these things are charge expenditure. Then the pension of judges of High Court is charged on the CFI only. The debt charges, wherever Government of India has taken any loan, the interest has to be paid. Come on, that is going to be a charge expenditure. We can't reduce it, right? Then any sums required to satisfy any judgment, decree, award. If the court has given some order that please pay compensation to the railway accident victims, please pay 5 lakh rupees per family, that can't be voted and all. It has to be approved. And any other expenditure that the parliament declares as a charge expenditure will be called a charge expenditure. Clear? This is what is charge expenditure. Ganesh, Rajya Sabha can, yes, Rajya Sabha can suggest changes, but again, it's only suggestions. It's as good as Lok Sabha accepting or rejecting it. So it depends on your suggestions. Are they being accepted by the Lok Sabha or not? If not, there is no point. Done. But one big question is, the government is spending all this money. Where is it getting money from? That's also a concern. So the government gets money from where? Taxation, revenue proposals, imposing tax on the people, right? That's called a finance bill. Finance bill is what? Contains tax proposals, right? When a finance bill is brought, it can be accepted, it can be rejected, it can be modified, no problem at all. Clear? So various kind of taxes, income tax, for example, every year the government has to bring this finance bill to levy or impose income tax on people. For example, currently, what's the income tax? Income tax slabs are there, meaning uh, below 3 lakh rupees, what's the income? No income, no tax. I mean, 3 lakh rupees, you are hardly earning anything in the country. Then from 3 to 6 lakh rupees, that is 3 lakh 1 rupees to 6 lakh rupees, then the taxation starts. So it's very simple: 5, 10, 15, 20, and 30. 5%, 6 to 9, 9 to 12, 12 to 15. Okay, this is the slab. 5%, 10%, 15%, 20%, and greater than 15 lakhs, 30%. Anyway, all these things are best left for economics classes, and in future when you start earning money, to worry, not for discussion right now. Are we clear? Finance bill once passed, we now say the budgetary exercise, the budget exercise is complete. Clear? This is how we complete the passage of the budgetary exercise. For example, this time the appropriation bill was passed by Lok Sabha on 24th, and the finance bill was passed by Lok Sabha on 25th. President signed it, and the budget was approved, finally allowing the government to take out money from CFI and waste it, I'm sorry, and spend it on people across the country for the betterment of the country, its growth, etc. Clear? That's it. Okay. Now, since we are discussing the budget, some budgetary terms are also important. So, first things first, see, our idea is to get the budget passed before 31st of March. But things can go wrong. Stuff happens. What if India is involved in some war? Right? What if there's a pandemic, etc.? So what happens is, initially only, whatever is the demand of the government, let's say the demand of government is 120 lakh crore rupees. We want 120 lakh crore rupees. So before the budget is discussed also, the parliament approves 2 months expenditure. 1/6 of demand is approved beforehand only. 1/6 of total demand, that is 2 months expenditure, this amount is approved beforehand only, so that in case there is any issue in the passage of the budget, there is any delay with respect to passing the budget, then what we can do is, the government will not be sitting idle, that no money only, right? No salary for employees. Pakistan attacks, no money to purchase weapons only. So in that case, the government has some money to spend, and the country can keep on running. Are we clear? Vote on account. This vote on account is meant for the expenditure part. But if the appropriation bill gets delayed, right, so can the finance bill. So if the government is getting the opportunity to get 2 months expenditure beforehand only, The same thing should be done for taxation also. So we already have a law in the country, and this is the law. The law is called the Provisional Collection of Taxes Act. If by chance there is any delay in the passage of finance bill, the government is authorized to collect taxes at new rates for 75 days. How many days? 75 days pending the passage of the finance bill. So for 75 days, the government can keep on collecting taxes. Clear? Everybody? No problem, no doubt here. Okay. Now, one more thing. Niranjan, during the parliament election year, we pass the budget only, but we'll see what happens in that shortly. Then we have something called supplementary grant. Now, please understand. Every year, for every such expenditure, some money has been approved by the parliament. Let us assume that for the year 2022 23, for the PM's foreign visit, because our PM loves to travel to foreign countries to build relations, 500 crore rupees have been allocated. Okay? But because our PM loves to travel so much, going here and there, playing the drums, pulling kids' ears, etc., he's a fun, jovial kind of person, right? So by the month of December only, the money is over. The president was roaming around in the Kalahari Desert. The PM was roaming around in the Kalahari Desert, right? And now money is over. Now what do? You will not tell the PM, stay there only. When we pass the next budget, then we'll get more money, we'll call you back. Of course not. That's not possible. So what do? You have to spend money immediately. Which place or which account allows you to spend money suddenly without even any parliamentary approval initially? Tell me. Which account allows the government to spend money without parliamentary approval? Approval is required, but after expenditure. Contingency Fund of India. Contingency fund is the fund used for such situations where right now spend the money, approval later on. Clear? So if the amount authorized in the budget becomes insufficient, contingency fund is used, right? Money is used from contingency fund to call back the PM or whatever tasks are required. Are we clear on this? Everybody. Second thing, additional grant. Now, in the budget, lot of things, schemes, programs have been initiated. But this does not mean that the government cannot think of a new scheme in between the year. What if BJP thinks of a new scheme to launch right now? Remember, All India Marriage Service. What if BJP says, oh, very good service, All India Marriage Service. Let's launch that service only. We'll conduct separate examinations for that. AIMS, new coaching institutes for AIMS, right? So they'll hire Bollywood celebs as faculty for the AIMS, etc. Now, in that particular situation, the government has to spend money. That is an additional expenditure on a new service which was not planned in the budget. It's a sudden expenditure only, right? So this money also comes from contingency fund. Any kind of additional expenditure on new scheme that was not in the budget but has been thought of mid-year, the money comes from contingency fund. Spend it right now, and then maybe get it approved later on. Clear? This is additional grant. It could be a scheme, program, service, whatever. So the money comes from contingency fund. Contingency fund is a one-stop solution. Whenever there is no money with the government, they will take out money from contingency fund. It is like the Dolo 650, right? You have fever, Dolo 650. You have headache, Dolo 650. Cancer, Dolo 650, right? One-stop solution for all the problems. Now, coming to excess grant. So sometimes money that was given to you, so every ministry is given money together for various schemes. Let's say Ministry of Power. Ministry of Power has launched three projects or wants to launch project A, B, and C. For project A, it is given 100 crore rupees. For project B, it is given 80 crore rupees. For project C, it is given 70 crore rupees. In total, this ministry has been given how much? 250 crore rupees. Right? Now, what happened because of some cost overruns, because that is what happens when you launch a scheme on paper, right? You have taken the best case scenario, etc. Though you may incorporate for some difficult times and variables, but still a lot of things can go wrong on the ground. When you launch a scheme or a project, you think of nothing will happen, but on the ground some conflicts happen. Sometimes floods may happen, natural calamities can take place, international issues can come up, which will increase the cost of that particular project. So by chance, on this project A, the ministry has now spent 110 crore rupees because they already had the total money. So they overspent it. Money spent is more than approved by parliament. This means this extra 10 crore that they have spent will be either from this scheme or this scheme. So they need that money. So what will they do? They'll again take out money from which fund? Same, Dolo 650 of the government, contingency fund. Okay? And lastly, vote of credit. Sometimes the government needs to spend money on an unexpected demand. For example, some kind of natural calamity, some kind of war, right? Etc. This also cannot be planned. Pandemic can happen, COVID 20, COVID 30, anything can happen. We don't know what China is cooking. I mean, any foreign country is doing. So the point is that if you want to spend money immediately on tiding over the crisis of this natural calamity, then contingency fund money is taken out from there and spent on this vote of credit. Clear? All these are some terms commonly associated with the budget. Lastly, just a point to tell you, reappropriation. What is the meaning of this? See, the idea is that when the parliament has approved that for a scheme A, you have to spend 100 crore rupees only. Now, by chance, the government is implementing the scheme A and it is able to achieve the scheme in only 80 crores. No bribes were taken, which is a shock, but still, let's assume that people don't take bribes, right? The government officials are doing a perfect job. People like you are now hired as civil servants. You are people who are of impeccable integrity and outstanding ability. So you are hired as new civil servants, right? Changing the face of the country. Because I'm sure most of you here want to join civil services not for prestige or power, but for serving the country, right? Okay. So in that case, this extra 20 crores is being spent, which is left, cannot be used by the ministry on some other scheme without parliament's approval. The point is that this money was given for scheme A, must be used on scheme A only. And if the money is saved, the government, the ministry has to take permission from parliament again. At parliament, I saved some money, I want to use this money in some other scheme. Okay. So that is called reappropriation, shifting money from one head, one scheme, one project, program, etc. to another. For example, if you are given 800 rupees by your mom to go and purchase vegetables, mom says 700 rupees of vegetables and 100 rupees you go and enjoy on your own. You go to a vegetable seller and start crying there, convince him, look at my face, I'm a UPSC aspirant, look at my suffering in life, please give me discount. And you somehow get a discount of 50 rupees, right? Then, before spending 50 rupees, please confirm from your mom that, mom, I somehow saved 50 rupees. Can I spend that also? And if your mom says, yes, spend it, you have earned it, then you can spend that money also. Clear? Yes, Bhavi, within the same ministry or outside the ministry also. But why will a ministry give the money given to them to some other ministry? They will never do it. Every ministry is running short of money. So ideally, it can be done anywhere, but it is never sent out of the ministry. Never ever will this happen, right? Because yes, they are from the same government, but every minister's individual performance also matters, right? That's it. Are we clear on these budgetary terms? Everybody. Great. Now, just one small point. Interim budget. What is this concept of interim budget? Interim budget is nothing, right? It is just a normal regular budget, but the one which is presented in an election year. The budget presented by the incumbent. What is the meaning of incumbent? Current, present. Which is the incumbent government in India? Tell me, which is the incumbent government in India? The incumbent government is a BJP government, the Modi government, NDA government. That is the incumbent government. So interim budget is the budget presented by the ruling party or the party in power during election year. For example, last time it was done in 2019. Next time it will be done next year only, that is 2024. Now, what is so special about this budget? See, this budget contains detailed documentation of every expenditure to be made and every rupee to be earned. So it contains both the expenditure part plus the revenue part. This is a normal budget only. But for a few months in general, why? Because the party never knows that they will come back to power or not. So they give a very generic kind of budget. No new scheme should be launched. Ideally, don't modify tax rates. So ideally, the incumbent government should not introduce any major policy changes, meaning avoid launching new schemes, avoid modifying tax rates, etc. Okay. because you are the party in power. And we know very well that if we launch schemes which give free money to people, it can have a devastating effect. Why? Because then you'll win the election 100%. Give freebies to people and you will win the election. So that's the code one party has cracked, and now other parties are also following it, right? So since you are the party in power, you have the power not to just make a promise, but to actually take an action. So you should not influence the vote bank unfairly to your advantage and to the disadvantage of the other parties. So elections have to be fair, right? So to ensure fairness of elections, we we expect that the incumbent government will not launch any new scheme or a program. Okay. Uh, I'll give you an example. So in our country, farmers are indeed suffering, at least lot of farmers, not the rich elite farmers, but lot of farmers. So BJP launched a scheme called Kisan Samman Nidhi, giving money 6,000 rupees per farmer in 3 installments. Yes or no? Just in the election year. So before the election year, farmers were not suffering. In 2018, they were not suffering. In 2017, they were not suffering. In 2016, things were okay. In 2015, their life was amazing. After 5 years of the ruling party's rule, the farmers started suffering. I mean, uh, not like that, but in 2019, the government realized that yes, farmers are living a difficult life. So they gave cash, direct cash in the farmer's account. Or the point is, they did not modify tax rates, but they said, the ruling party said in the budget that if your income is less than 5 lakh rupees, then we will give you a tax rebate discount of how much? 12,500 rupees tax rebate. And let me tell you, the income tax paid by people whose income was less than 5 lakh, the maximum amount that you could pay was 12,500. So this means they were actually indirectly modifying the tax rate only to make it zero tax for people with income less than 5 lakhs. These things were done in the election year. So I am not raising any concerns, please. I am just pointing out the issues that people may have. Now, let me also tell you, see, to be very frank, these things are not justified. Let's be real. But in the examination, if you have to write these facts, how do you present these facts? You will say, despite the noble intentions of the government to improve the conditions of farmers, the timing of the scheme, right? The allegation is on the timing of the scheme. So the timing of the scheme is being questioned or has been questioned by the opposition parties. Never ever make statements, oh, government is playing vote bank politics. No. How do you know? We are not omniscient and omnipotent people. We simply question the timing. That's it. And allegations of timing. That is all that needs to be mentioned. Clear? Interim budget. Done. We are done with the budgetary exercise. Let's finish this topic with a question asked in 2011, which I hope you will mark correctly. Please don't overthink, don't over assume things, just read, and based on your knowledge that you already have, mark an answer. No Omkar, that cannot be done. Oh, guys, I'll just give you 10 seconds. Please mark the answer again. I could not see the answer, please. Did you guys see the answer? Why is such a high rate of correct answer suddenly? Oh, that is why. I was about to be so happy that I have taught so amazingly well that the correct answer is 84%. Oh, amazing. Sadly, so what was the correct answer? Acha, at first 42% correct. Okay. Okay. So, what's the difference between vote on account and interim budget? The provision of vote on account is used by a regular government, yes, of course. Interim budget is a provision used by what is a caretaker government. In our country, there is no such concept. Interim budget is used by a regular government only. Next year, BJP will present the interim budget. Will they become a caretaker government? Of course not. They will be the regular government only. So one is wrong. A vote on account only deals with the expenditure in the government's budget, while interim budget includes both expenditure and receipt. Yes, absolutely correct. Vote on account means 2 months of expenditure, and interim budget means both expenditure and receipt. 2 is correct. B2 only is the right answer. Okay. Nandi Shappa, I don't know what is the meaning of caretaker government, because in our country we don't have a caretaker government. These kind of concepts are in some neighboring countries, right? A government for a temporary period is a caretaker government. We don't have such a concept in our country. Caretaker government. Okay. Clear? Okay. That's it. We are done. Now coming to some smaller topics like the leader of the house. So who is the leader of the house? The leader of the house is the prime minister. PM is the leader of whichever house he is a member of. Whereas any senior minister becomes the any senior minister chosen by PM becomes the leader of or leader in the other house. Are you clear? So the prime minister is the leader of whichever house he or she is a member of. So currently our Prime Minister Narendra Modi, he is the MP in which house? Lok Sabha. So he is the leader of which house? Lok Sabha. Now look at this person. He is Piyush Goyal. He is an MP in which house? Rajya Sabha. And the PM has appointed him or chosen him to be the leader of the Rajya Sabha. And look at how he is so humble, thanking the PM that, sir, you are everything. Thank you so much, sir, for making me the leader of the Rajya Sabha. Clear? That is why the boss chooses who becomes the leader of the other house. Now, take the example of Manmohan Singh. Manmohan Singh was the leader of which house? Tell me. Dr. Manmohan Singh, when he was the prime minister, he was the leader of which house? He was the leader of, yes, Rajya Sabha. Absolutely correct. Because Dr. Manmohan Singh was the MP in Rajya Sabha. So if you're an MP in Rajya Sabha, you can, of course, you will be the leader of the Rajya Sabha. So that I can go to a podcast. Ranveer Allahabadi. We have some Ranveer Allahabadi fans also here. Amazing, great. Anyway, now what's the task of the leader of the house? Leader of the house is the boss of the house, right? He acts, I mean, not the boss to defeat the presiding officer. He's a real boss. But amongst the parties, he acts as a spokesperson of the house. Spokesperson of the house and represents the house on various ceremonial functions, maintaining coordination between parties, right? And the presiding officer also consults the leader of the house on how to arrange the government business, which bills to discuss first, which bills later on, when to adjourn the session, when to prorogue the session. All these things are discussed. No, no, I understand, sir. Don't worry. My statement was just a lighter vein statement. Yes, of course. So, Gaurav, sir, who was leader of Lok Sabha during Manmohan Singh government? Interesting question. So, in the first government, that is 2004 to 9, the leader was of Lok Sabha was Pranab Mukherjee, and in 2009 to 14, the leader was Sushil Kumar Shinde, right? Okay. Now let's move on. But see, leader of the house from the ruling party, speaker is yours, chairperson is yours. Come on, what is more important? The diverse opposition coming from various parties, they have to come together to form a united front to question the ruling party, right? So, what is more important is the leader of opposition to unite the opposition collectively and question the government. That's what is more important. So, in this case, leader of opposition, what's the concern here? Leader of opposition, firstly, is a statutory post. It is not a constitutional post. Statutory post. First thing. Number two, they have the same rank, same status, same allowances as that of a cabinet minister. Clear? Dinesh, in the entire Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, between its coalition and other parties also. Okay? So, leader of opposition, this post was mentioned or is mentioned in a law. The law is called the Salaries and Allowances of LOP, Leader of Opposition Act of 1977. In this particular law, the person's post has been mentioned. Hence, it's a statutory post. Now, what's the criteria? First criteria, you have to be, of course, a member of the house. Second criteria, you will be chosen by the presiding officer. So you have to be recognized by the presiding officer. Third criteria, you should be the leader of that party in the opposition with the greatest numerical strength. So there are so many opposition parties. Leader of opposition will be a person, an MP from that party which is in the opposition in the largest number. Clear? For example, so here, greatest numerical strength. Now let's take an example. Example of Lok Sabha. In Lok Sabha, in the opposition, you have various parties, DMK, BJD, BJD not really, but uh, AITC, YSR Congress. So many parties are there, JDU, right? All these parties have 22, 23, 18, 16 seats. One party, that is Indian National Congress, around 50 seats. 50 MPs. Let's assume they have 50 MPs. 50, 51, this figure only. This party is the largest party in the opposition. In the Rajya Sabha also, Congress party is the largest party in the opposition. 31 MPs are there. Now please, if you look at it, there is in Rajya Sabha, do we have a leader of opposition? Yes, we do. Mallikarjun Kharge is a LOP in Rajya Sabha. Okay? But do we have a leader of opposition in the Lok Sabha? Tell me. There is no leader of opposition in the Lok Sabha. But Congress is the party with the highest numerical strength. Then why don't we have an LOP in the Lok Sabha? Because in 1950s only, G.V. Mavlankar, the first speaker of our country, he made a rule called Mavlankar rule. So apart from these three things, you have to also get this criteria fulfilled. And what is the criteria? That whichever party wants to get the tag of leader of opposition, that party should have at least those many MPs which are equal to the quorum of the house. In the Rajya Sabha, what is the quorum? Please tell me. And in the Lok Sabha, what is the quorum? 10%. What is 10% of Rajya Sabha? 245, 10%, 24.5, 25. In the Lok Sabha, 543, 54.3, 55. So any party which not only has the maximum number of MPs in the opposition, but also has at least 10% people, right, in the house from its party. Both the criteria have to be met. Only then will you be given the tag of LOP, right? This is not just a rule. In fact, it is mentioned now in the Parliament Facilities Act also, Direction 121. So look at Congress now. In the Rajya Sabha, what's the requirement? 25 MPs. Congress has 31. Criteria met. In the Lok Sabha, requirement is 55 MPs. How many MPs are there? 50. Criteria not met. That is why no LOP in the Lok Sabha, but LOP in the Rajya Sabha. Simple. And this is not something unique. If you look at the very first Lok Sabha also, right? Nehru had 364 seats out of 489. And the largest party in power in the opposition was the CPI with 16 seats, 1-6. Second largest party or the largest party in opposition. Second Lok Sabha also, Congress had 371 out of 494 seats. And CPI was the largest party in the opposition with 27 seats. The requirement was 50 seats. Okay? No, You cannot have a coalition. That's not possible. It will be calculated on a basis of party only, not the coalition. So, just to point out, the first ever LOP in our country was Ram Subhash Singh in the year 1969. So don't be angry and all, it's okay. We have had situations where we have not had LOPs in the past also. Okay, but ideally it would be more appropriate. It would be more appropriate to have an LOP because that gives a united front to the opposition. Clear? Okay, that's it with respect to the leader of opposition. Let's do one thing. Let's take a quick break. 12 minutes of break. We'll be back at 7 and we'll then discuss some pointers on answer writing. Right? So take a quick break. Yes, Dinesh, vice president and leaders are different. Siddhanta, minister salary, MP salary, yes, it is different. Minister salary is slightly more than that of MP, okay, with better allowances. So these things are there. Okay, guys, come. Previous question answer is what? Previous question answer is Jayanta. What happened? Suddenly you have asked something related to I don't know what topic. Is this? Oh, B is the answer. Two only. Please clarify. I think last time also you had some problem that the answer is wrong. Okay. Yes, Ganesh, not mentioned. Okay, guys, let's take a break. Be back at 8. Sorry, 7. And we'll continue our discussion further. Azhar, no offers. What to do? Break, please, guys. Okay, welcome back, guys. Omkar, sir, what is quorum by definition? Please refer to Article 100. You will get to know the quorum by definition. Quorum refers to 10% or 1/10 of the total membership of the house. That is quorum by definition. Satish, CC on accommodation is headed by the Home Minister. Okay, so now let's have some pointers on answer writing. I know you're all experts at answer writing, so you don't need my advice. But still, some general things that you need to keep in mind while writing answers. See, first things first, three important points that we always follow. Mandatory. Number one, please ensure that your language is simple. Simple language. No need to complicate. This is a test not to check your literature skills, literary skills. No, this is a test to check your knowledge on the topic. Number two, it is of utmost important. Please respect the word limit. The word limit is for a reason. Do not exceed the word limit by more than 3 4 words. Clear? Please don't. In fact, when you start practicing answers, the very first thing you will be doing is to restrict yourself within the word limit. The problem is that in our school, not the school, but the college especially, we have been trained to fill up pages, vomit on the page, color all the pages, get more marks. That will not work in UPSC. Okay. Then, number three, and very important, write what is asked. Now you will say, yes, we will write what is asked only. No, because in most cases, this is what people do. They write what they know. So you will see, read the statements and pick up some keyword. Oh, defection, and start writing everything about defection. Whether the question asks it, does not ask it, I don't care. I will write what I know. That will not help you in getting marks here. You'll get 0 marks for that, right? So please only write what is asked, not more than that, right? Don't give useless information. Now, beyond these things, some other important points is prefer writing in point format. A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3, 4, dot, whatever design asterisk mark you want. Prefer writing in point format because we start writing in paragraphs when we don't know the points. So it should be 70/30. 70% points 30% questions in paragraph. Okay, so 70% questions in points and 30% questions in paragraphs. Clear? Now, Jayanta will address the concerns. Firstly, follow what I am saying, and then I'll take your question also. Don't worry. Second thing, a very important point is that slowly and steadily, you'll have to develop cross linkage, a 360-degree approach, a multi-pronged approach, linking your answer to multiple topics. So what we say is the A.B. de Villiers style of answer writing, a 360-degree approach. Link the answer to multiple dimensions. There can be an economic angle to it. There can be social angle to the answer. There can be ethical angle to the answer, international ramification, etc. This is the thing that will take the maximum amount of time to develop, because this will develop only with what? With knowledge. The more topics you cover, so when you start studying social issues, economics, IR, ethics, etc., you will have more diverse knowledge. That's when these things start coming in your, or start reflecting in your answer. Then, one more pointer, very important. This is to always exhibit a positive frame of mind. Exhibit a positive frame of mind. So, in your answers, please don't sound like a pessimist. The country is doomed to fail, negatives, negatives, negatives. No. Now, one such issue that people have, when we say positive is right, all the nice things only. No, no, no. When I say a positive frame of mind, I mean to say that don't ignore the problems, please. Problems or shortcomings need to be exposed, of course, but you also have to offer viable solutions. Clear? When you are offering any kind of problem, issue, concern, there should be attached a suggestion, a solution for the problem. You cannot write a one-sided answer where you have only 10 problems and one solution. That should not be the case. And viable, practical solutions. If your solution involves investing thousands of crores of rupees, that's not a practical solution, because the country does not have that kind of money, right? If your solution to reducing poverty is killing the poor people only, that's extreme. This is not a solution. Practical solutions, right? One or two solutions can, or suggestions can be very, very utopian, but largely don't make solutions which require you to amend the entire constitution only, change every kind of organization structure. That will not be a good solution. And when I say exhibit a positive frame of mind, I mean to say, please remain neutral. Number one, do not take party name, person's name. Don't do it. So if I have to mention, let's say, corruption in the Congress, no, no, not the Congress. The allegations, firstly, you have to always mention allegations until unless you are backing it with facts. Allegations of corruption in the 2006 16th Lok Sabha, or the government in 2000s. Why should I name the Congress government? Why should I name the BJP government? No, no, no. 1985 government, government in 1980s, government in 1970s. Don't avoid naming political leaders uselessly. Remain neutral. Second thing is to develop. Now, you have to also ensure that you develop something called empathy in yourself. What is empathy? Putting yourself in somebody else's shoes. Understand that this country has some challenges. Literacy levels are low, digital divide is there, various diverse culture and customs are there. We have to understand that we cannot enforce things on people. For example, a question on e-governance, if your solution to it is that we have to ensure that to improve the quality of services, e-governance everywhere, no, that's not possible. A lot of people at the age of 55, 60 may not have the understanding of use of technology, right? You cannot impose technology in difficult geographical locations. You have to give alternatives to people. These are just small pointers on how we have to develop empathy, right? If things have not been okay, does not mean the institutions have failed. The challenges are far too many to overcome very quickly. Okay. And of course, uh, a very important point which you need to understand is that your answers should reflect the element of social welfare. Focus on the larger good of society. Welfare. Always welfare. Welfare. Always focus on the larger public interest. You should never be viewed as somebody who is elitist. That's a very wrong impact or impression you would create on the evaluator. So don't have that impact, right? That he is an elitist person. No, not at all. So some very basic pointers that we need to conform to, and ultimately the idea is, and we normally use that phrase also, please ensure that your suggestions, your solutions remain within the framework of the constitution. You should align your values to the values of the constitution. Please remain within the framework of the constitution. So align your values with, align your values with the values of the constitution. Very important. Now, coming to an element of structure of the answer. So you have two types of questions: 150 words and 250 words. Now we look at what should the structure be like. So structure, you know very well, you have to have an intro, there should be a body, and there needs to be a conclusion. Now there is no need to write all these things, intro, body, conclusion. But in a 150 word question, please do not write an elaborate half a page introduction of 100 words. No, intro can only be 15, 20 words. That's it. Maybe 25. Here, intro should be 25, 30 words, not more than that. Clear? Conclusion can extend to 30 words also. Here it can be 45, 50 words also, not more than that. Now, sometimes creating a conclusion is a very challenging task. How to end the answer on an amazing note, writing some uh, great conclusion that will impress the evaluator. He goes crazy. Oh, who is this person? What has he or she written? Full marks. No. That will not happen in most cases. You won't have the time to think of those conclusions. That is why uh, a very safe conclusion is to prefer writing suggestions or way forward in the conclusion. This will save you a lot of energy, especially which you may spend in thinking how to write an amazing conclusion, right? So avoid overthinking on the conclusion. Write the way forward as the last paragraph. Simple. And if you write a way forward, then you can also exceed this limit. Possible. Clear? Rest has to be devoted to the body. That's the meat of your answer. This will be your structure. Now, of course, there are some variations here depending on questions, but I would still prefer that you practice in this structure only, this format. Once you have mastered this format, then maybe we can go for a 3 paragraph approach, etc., of writing answers. But firstly, practice in this structure. Now, one thing that is going to serve you uh, would be the pointers on what should be the descending order approach to writing answer, what to focus on more, and what should be the priority. So this is the priority indicator that I say that this is what you follow. Top down approach. First things first, how do you start writing the best answer? Your first priority to writing a good answer is to focus on content. Content, value in the answer. Try to find out as many points as possible, collect as much information as possible on every question. Content is the king or queen of this answer, nothing else. Second thing is word limit. So right now, over the course of next 50-60 answers that you write, please focus on these two things only. Nothing else. Nothing else is required right now. Don't worry on any other element. Content and word limit. How to write maximum content in the 150 or 250 word limit, right? Then we'll start focusing on improving our structure, trying to streamline the structure, intro, body, conclusion, smaller introduction, concise introduction, uh, brief conclusion, paragraphs in bodies, point format, all these things. Then focus on something very important, which is the choice of words. As I said, the idea is to reflect that you are a truly liberal person. So, truly liberal, you are accepting of, you're open to hearing other people's views, right? And even if you have a view, you are open, it seems like you're open to hearing people's views, and you are ready to give others a chance, right? You're always willing to understand the other person's problems. For example, we all know the quality of police in the country, the allegations of corruption, and I'm sure if I take a poll, a lot of you here have paid a bribe, right? So can you write this in the answer? Police is corrupt. No, 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 no. We write it, but in a different choice of words. It is largely believed that police is corrupt. In popular public perception, police is believed to be corrupt. It is alleged that the police is corrupt. Why should I make a statement? I do not point out fingers at anyone. People are saying it. I am a nice person, right? this image has to be translated on paper. Very important. It may be a fake image, but what can you do? The ethics paper is just this only, right? So it does not really matter. But what you feel, but my task is, of course, I would prefer that you actually become truly liberal, but at least on paper, you should appear to be a person who is open to understanding limitations and challenges, right? Okay. So whenever you write any kind of issue, so somebody had mentioned right now here, the vasectomy process for population control by Indira Gandhi, positive or negative? See, because of increasing population, steps were needed to be taken to curb population. However, the government, due to lack of awareness or information in this field, or due to lack of comprehensive research, chose a very draconian measure which had a negative impact on the minds of people. The idea is that, see, the government's intention is always nice, right? But the steps that they take may not be suitable to the social environment of the country. Clear? This is what you write. So, choice of words, the phrases that you use, the way you change your argument, moving from one point to another to the third point, this is a skill which will develop only if you have read a lot of books. Now, if I come here and say, come on, guys, please read Amartya Sen, read Shashi Tharoor, read Stephen Hawkins. I can say all this. I can quote hundreds of other authors. I can mug up some names, fancy names, and come and tell you, come on, read those books. Yeah, we can act all cool. But the point is, right now, you have to collect information also. Within 1-2 years, if you start reading Amartya Sen and all, then you will not prepare for 2025, 26. Then your preparation is for 2035. So be realistic. We are normally not reading books right now also. Look at my notes also. They are just pointers, right? I think most subjects, the faculty ensures that the notes are very comprehensive and concise. So how do you get the language to develop? Editorials. That's why I've been focusing on reading editorials from day one. When you read the articles in the newspaper on your own, the purpose is never to get facts. What facts will those editorials give you? Nothing. I'm not sounding elitist here. I'm being very frank here. Most editorials are written by people who may not have the great knowledge on the topic. And you can also do a research and collect that information. You will have more information on the topic, but you will not have the language to present that in the same fashion. That's the difference. Clear? That's the difference. You have to develop that skill only. Read editorials. If you find some phrase mentioned very beautifully, right? Judicial review, defined in a very unique fashion, copy that phrase in your answer, in your notebooks, in your notes. Nice phrase, and start using it everywhere, in every answer. Use it, right? Mug up some quotes on democracy, on panchayats, on activism. So when you know that these topics are very important, mug up some quotes, have ready-made quotes, have ready-made conclusions, introductions. For example, there's a question on RTI, right to information. If a question comes, let's say the question is on challenges of RTI, or the question is on good things about RTI, right to information, governance. What's the goal of RTI? The goal of RTI is to expose the autocratic, arbitrary, and the partisan functioning in the government departments. Mug up this line, vomit everywhere. If a question comes about, write the nice things about RTI, impact on RTI. So, the goal of RTI is to expose the autocratic, arbitrary, partisan functioning of the governments, which is reflected in our country through the law, the RTI Act 2005. If a question comes, RTI has been ineffective, right? The goal of RTI has been to expose the autocratic, arbitrary, partisan functioning, which, due to certain changes made in recent times in the RTI, has not been implemented fully. Same phrase can be used positively, can be used negatively. Mug up these kind of phrases. Every topic will have some kind of summary, right? In 5, 6 nice words. Create those on your own. So, right now, what you may feel is that if I write the same kind of conclusion in every kind of answer for, say, panchayats, I will sound repetitive. Of course. But the point is, in your examination, they won't ask you 5 questions on panchayats. There'll only be one question, possibly on panchayats. And if you have been so, right, if you have been so thorough with that particular point, you will be able to write that point directly. So don't over experiment, right? Be thorough with certain fixed points only. And trust me, nothing is natural. It's all prepared. The more you prepare, the better your answer is. So please read editorials. You will be surprised at the difference it can create in the choice of words and phrases in your answers. Do not translate it. Don't read the meaning of it from somewhere. Don't read the comprehensive summary of it. Read it on your own from the newspaper. That is my point. Once you are done with this, then slowly we'll start focusing on two things together. So we will put that under the heading language. Now, language refers to two things: grammar and also spellings. See, when it comes to grammar, uh, grammatical mistakes can be avoided by writing short sentences. Because if you start writing long sentences, you will start in the past tense, end up in the future tense, right? So that's a problem. Write short sentences. Second, spellings. So spellings, again, please never use a word the meaning of which you are not sure of. So when you read a new word, please see the meaning in the dictionary on your own, right? And try to use it multiple times before you can write on the paper, and keep on verifying the spelling. And secondly, technical words. Let's say you are writing an answer on polity and you are writing sovereignty wrong. That's a crime. The evaluator should personally come to your house and beat you for that. That is a criminal offense. So we cannot make any mistakes on technical words used in that particular paper. So that you have to improve through practicing more and more answers. That's it. Then comes a very important element called handwriting. Now, I will not give you uh, false statements here. Handwriting does not matter. Come on, it does matter. We are human beings. Does the outward appearance not matter? Do visuals not matter? Yes, they matter. A person who is more well dressed, you will genuinely tend to ignore their mistakes or have a good first impression of that person, right? Same thing. If somebody has a nice handwriting, the evaluator will tend to have a nice impression. We cannot avoid that, because if you have a very bad handwriting and it's all completely haphazard, lot of cuts, scratches, etc., the evaluator is already irritated at your answer, so he is more likely to be very strict in evaluation. Handwriting can't be changed. Blame your parents. Maybe your kids can have better handwriting, make them practice. What you can do is write neatly, give proper spaces between words, spaces between sentences. So rather than, okay, so if this is your paper, prefer writing like this: proper spaces between letters and also spaces between sentences. So this could, I am not saying this would make you handwriting amazing, you will start competing with someone who has a very good handwriting, but your paper appears to be neat, and this is sufficient. Don't go overboard and crazy. That is why the word I will use here is neatness, not handwriting. It's okay. Neatness. Once all these things are done, then you will focus on time. Are we clear? The biggest mistake that people make is that they focus on time first. So many cases I see, especially in the offline classes when students show me their answers, the first thing that I see is that they have mentioned at the corner time. And then when I ask them why this time, they say, sir, why the answer is incomplete? They say, sir, I took more than 12 minutes, so I stopped writing only. No, you can mention time. That ensures that you have progressed slowly. But don't worry about time. Your first answers can take half an hour also, 40 minutes also. Who cares? Nobody cares. If you start following this priority slowly and steadily, when you get your content and word limit right, your structure is okay, your choice of words improve, then your time management will always automatically fall into place. Meaning, your 150 word answer will be covered in 7 to 8 minutes. Your 250 word answer will be covered in 10 to 11 minutes. It will happen automatically. You would not have to put in special efforts for it. Are we clear? So the idea is that an answer which is say a 150 word answer 7 minutes, or a 250 word answer 11 minutes. That's the rough estimate. 7 to 8, 10 to 11, this can vary. And don't worry, there will always be some questions for which you won't know the answer. So when you know the answer, you can put in some extra effort and time, 1 minute extra, etc. So this will be the priority indicator. Every day come back to this and see that are you following this or not. Are you focusing too much on neatness originally and then not on structure? That will be wrong strategy. This is how you focus. Clear? Now, one more thing. Now, how to calculate the word limit? So, in your first few answers, what you will do is, see, everybody has a different way of writing answer or writing because of your font size, spacing between words, etc. So, firstly, every answer has to be taken seriously. We are not here to have fun. So, when you write an answer, please ensure that you write that answer in the UPSC format only. So UPSC answer format or the answer page is somewhat like this: margins on both sides and writing answer in between. Please purchase these kind of notebooks, A4 sheets from the market, or if you have A4 sheets, draw lines on both sides. Don't write answers on ruled paper, diaries, etc. Every answer you write is actually a practice answer. So take it seriously. I can understand, oh, it's okay, it does not matter, content is important. No, everything is important. Please take the exam seriously. Don't say 50 rupees or 100 rupees. Your life is way more than this. Okay? Now, what you will start doing now is when you start writing answers, let us say you observe one thing, that when you write answers, say a 150 word answer, you find that when I write answers, a 150 word answer, my answer normally comes somewhere here. And this is where I end my 150 words in general. This can vary also. When I draw flow charts, etc., it can vary. But this is a rough place where my answers end. How will you know this? You keep on writing answers and keep on calculating words. Ignore the 2 and 1 letter words, count the 3 letter words and above, and find out where on the page you end up your 150 words. When you find that 150 word limit for yourself, that is the rough estimate or that rough area or point where you will end all your answers. So if you are writing here, you have reached here. Now you know in the next few lines I have to finish my answer. Because the problem is the evaluator has been evaluating so many answers that you cannot fool them. That writing 174 words, he would not come to know. They would come to know. They are doing this only, right? Nothing special. It's just that they are too, no, too much engrossed and involved into looking at these answers that they very easily at one go can tell you with say a plus minus 5 words accuracy how many words are there in your answer. So don't try all this. Practice through this. In the first 30-40 answers, it will be very boring to calculate the words, but do it. Or ask your younger sibling to calculate. What are younger siblings for? This only. Slap them and ask them, come on, calculate. No, don't slap them. Just ask them nicely. Give them some chocolates, toffee, etc. They'll do this for you. Okay. So this is with respect to answer writing. Now, ultimately, it all boils down to just one thing that I would say, and that one thing is practice. Okay, we have to practice. PYQs plus mock tests. Practice as many questions as possible, right? We have never been taught how to write answers. Please practice. There is no way to improve answers without practicing, right? So you'll have to practice putting pen down on paper. Ultimately, don't wait. Once I've studied all the subjects, I'll start writing answers, and I'll only write answers if I'm very confident, because my first answer has to be an amazing answer. It will not be the case with most of you. Your first answers are going to be very, very bad, but that is how you progress. When you go to the gym, you don't say, where is the 50 kg dumbbell, come on, give it to me. Of course not. You start in such an embarrassing fashion, lifting a 5 kg dumbbell, others are lifting 20 kg dumbbell, but you will reach there ultimately. Don't compare your beginning with somebody's end. Don't do it. Are we clear? These pointers need to be incorporated. Practice answers regularly. So, uh, of course, when you start studying, you should not start writing answers immediately. But after a few days of studies, I feel it's okay to start writing answers, especially PYQs. The way we teach in the class as well is to cover the topics comprehensively so that you can write answers. So have separate notebooks and write answers. Clear? We always prepare for the main examination. Never forget this. We don't prepare for prelims. It's always mains. So always mug up points, write answers, read editorials, read Yojana, Kurukshetra, and current affairs. That should suffice. Now, questions if you have any. Ghulam Mustafa. Uh, See, it would depend if there are no ready-made notes. Like say for polity, I will tell you and request you don't make notes. Huh? If you are writing in the class along with me, then it's okay. But I am already writing everything, right? So why do you want to make separate notes with yellow, blue, green? Not required. Huh? If you want to write along with me, do it. Great. But these are your notes. Add more pages, insert A4 sheets to it to add more notes. Don't create new notes. Gaurav, with respect to newspaper, see, my opinion is Indian Express is a better newspaper. Considering the people who contribute, considering the articles which are very topical, but Hindu and Express are equally good, right? Both are very popular. No, I'm not saying Express is better because recently we have seen more questions from Indian Express. That is not there. 4 years back also I was recommending the same newspaper. It is just by chance that in the past 3-4 years we have seen more questions being asked from Indian Express. That is just chance, right? But both are very good. My preference is Indian Express. You can read any of them, right? Siddhanta, mind maps are meant for you. Don't go crazy to create one. If you can remember things on your own, great. Otherwise, have some mnemonics, etc. But it's meant for you to be to have a learning aid, a learning tool. It cannot be ultimate objective. And the way to learn things is to keep on revising and reading the same thing again and again. That's the simplest way to learn. Gaurav, PDFs can be downloaded through the same page you're accessing the class, you'll have a link available. Download the PDF from there. Yes, Ghulam Mustafa, C. Raja Mohan is there, Pratap Bhanu Mehta is there. And let me tell you, whether your values align with somebody's or not, it does not matter, right? If somebody is writing good points, we have to incorporate it. The biggest problem a civil servant can have is to become an activist. Don't become an activist. If you are very closely attached to any ideology, please leave it. You are an aspirant, you are a student, you are learning. Just learn. Don't create any agenda in your mind. That is going to be a short way to falter in the examination. You are open right now, it's okay. We don't know what is the truth, right? So that's just a perspective of people. uh Paniela, there is no minimum, but I would expect you to write at least 1-2 questions every day. That is possible, achievable also. Again, Jayanta, same thing, 1 or 2 articles, 1 or 2 questions. Yes, Dinesh, monthly magazine along with Yojana Kurukshetra, both of them. Ragini, yes, of course you can start writing. Okay, I believe your questions are addressed. No, no, Omkar, there is no problem with a religious angle, uh, as long as you don't sound biased. So, firstly, I would also like to say that religion is just a sham. Trust me on this, right? And most of us don't really worry and bother about religion. Do you really worry about your friend's religion? If you do, you're not truly a friend. You don't, right? Then why should you bother about somebody else's religion? But let's say you are somebody who is deeply religious. It's okay. Don't hate anybody. And if you do, at least don't have it in the paper. But I would also say that there is no point in hitting anyone. But yes, your religious angle in the answer should be a liberal point of view in the answer. So sadly, uh, you have to be more liberal also to win the heart of evaluator, because it is more likely that your evaluator is left leaning. And I would also suggest, though I really don't have any attachment to our left wingers, the pseudo liberals in the country, but considering the inequality in the country, it is very appropriate to ensure the welfare of the larger community compared to the welfare of the rich and elite people. That should be our ideology. The constitution reflects that ideology, and that should be inculcated within us also, should reflect on the answer also. Yes, Omkar, they are two different things to be studied differently. Okay. Yes, Jayant, we won't be taking any new topic right now. Pavitra, as I said, time and to be required. Again, you are asking something which I say is the least of your concerns right now. But anyway, the time for a 15 word or 150 word answer should be around 7 minutes to 8 minutes. And for a 250 word answer should be 10 to 11 minutes. That will be the maximum. Please don't cross that. TRAA, I would refrain to answer such questions. So that what will be the best optional. There is no best optional. Firstly, find out your skill set. Are you good at writing answers, or can you mug up information, etc.? Then look at the source material available. Maybe if you have graduated in the same stream, that could be of help. Look at the faculty available, look at the material available, right? All these things. And then interest is also of importance, though not too much importance, because ultimately every optional will have some boring parts. You'll have to go through it. And once you have chosen an optional, devote yourself to it, and that should be enough. Okay, Sania, great. Yes, Gulam Mustafa, tomorrow as well, the class which begins tomorrow evening, I'll be taking that class. Pavitra, number of questions in polity. In the first class only we have discussed this, right? Somewhere close to 90 to 100, 105, 110 marks worth questions will be from polity and constitution. No, Karan, not too many short forms. Functions, yes, possible. But the one short form which are very commonly used. And one more thing, in case you want to use any short forms, please write it somewhere. Like say, you are writing CAG or say CBI, or even if you're writing a cabinet committee. So I will write cabinet committee in bracket CC, and from next time onwards in the same answer I can use CC. That's how we use it. Ragini, we don't have polity optionals actually. It's either PSIR or public administration. Gaurav, no, don't do it right now. Let this year pass. In January, make a fair assessment of what should be your correct optional, and then we can go ahead. Pavitra, you had asked this question I think earlier also. It is just revising the same thing again and again, right? So before people start leaving, let me just tell you, we have all these questions, right? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now ignore these two questions. Till here, you can write all these questions. I would expect you to write all these questions and send them to Target IAS to get them evaluated. Clear? Now, if you see any question before 2016, please write the answer in either 150 or 250 words. For example, I would want you to write this answer in 150 words. Okay, write this answer in 250 words. Clear? This answer you can write in say 150 words. Rest are 250 words, 150 words. Okay. So basically before 2017, 2016 and before, the questions were in 200 words only. But now we don't have those kind of questions. So we should practice in 150 or 250 words only. Clear? Please write all these answers. Number one. Number two, what is also important is to ensure that, see, we already have all these answers discussed in your tablet. Recording is there, recorded by me only, right? So you have all these answers discussed thoroughly. You can watch the video, no problem, and then write the answer. It does not really matter. So you can watch the video and write the answer, but write the answers, get them evaluated. You can also revise the notes first, then write the answer. It does not matter. But please write, put pen on paper. Okay. And yes, before you leave and I take more doubts, first up, as usual, our homework. Calling it homework sounds so childish. But anyway, homework. We are students, learning curve. Remember, aspirants till you clear the examination. So, first thing, revision of PPTs. Number two, the book Political Theory. Again, my request would be to read one chapter every day. So, chapter 6 to 10 would have been over, right? Complete 5 chapters. Number three, typical monthly magazine has to be covered, right? This I hope you are doing it. Monthly magazine, 1 hour every day, 1 hour per day. Then Yojana and Kurukshetra on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Kurukshetra Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. 1 hour. Then read the editorials and solve the PYQs. Who said preparation is easy? It is not easy. Okay. 5 chapters from political theory. This book is not Lakshmikant. It is an NCRT book. Please refer to your very first class. You will get to know what is political theory. Okay. Pavitra, tomorrow I'll be taking the very first class on polity. So that's the introduction class only. And we'll be discussing the chapter precedent, not these topics. Himaja, who will evaluate? So when you write the answer, you can send them to Target IS and they will evaluate your answers and give you the scores. Okay. Niranjan. See, Niranjan, in India, we follow a parliamentary system, which means that executive is a part of legislature. So because of the parliamentary system, we have this way where executive becomes a part of legislature. But this also ensures accountability. It prevents any kind of dictatorial tendencies. So we have chosen this system over the presidential system, which does not have the same level of accountability, and the presidents can turn dictatorial. One more thing, somebody says, what is a best score? See, scores, if you are scoring anywhere right now above 40% marks in any answer, 40% marks, it's a decent score. Your score and your ultimate objective should be to score around 60-70% marks in the answer. That would be an amazing score to get, right? So anywhere close to 40% marks in any test, any question, let's say it's a 15 marker question, 6-7 marks is a very good score. If it's a 10 marker question, 4-5 marks is a good score. Clear? So please have that as well in mind. What level of English? Very generic and basic level of English is required, because the focus is not on English. The focus is on content. The focus is on the number of points you can write. The focus is on associating those points to multiple dimensions. Uh, Pooja, homework, this is meant for people who don't have a timetable and you would need some help in a timetable. So that's why I mentioned this. Omkar, Baiju's monthly magazine available on the website. Baiju's website. Download it. Last 1 week, what have you been doing? Guys, don't skip on a monthly magazine. It is very important to read. I mean, you can read any monthly magazine you want, but please read current affairs. Okay. Great. Good night. What else do we have? Sir, really all answers can be read perfectly or not? Read or written? Pavitra. Any other doubt that you guys have? Feel free to ask those doubts. I'll address them, but the only condition is you have to revise and write answers. Okay. Great, Ghulam Mustafa. Amazing. Gaurav, it's on the website only. Let me see the student view. In mains answers writing, as I said, 10 marker questions 7 to 8 minutes, 15 marker questions 10 to 11 minutes. Okay. Of course, Nandishappa. Okay. What? Yes, Himaja, I think I addressed your concern. What was the doubt? Yes, Anshika, gist is sufficient. Amit, as I said, that may not be within my area of, how do I say, control. But follow the PPTs for now. I think for polity, you don't need to do anything else. What you have right now is sufficient. Okay. But I'm sure that work is going on in that regard as to whatever concerns are there. Haji, Himaja, what was the doubt? I think I addressed that. Who will evaluate our papers is what you asked, right? Oh, so from now onwards, start answer writing. Yes, yes. Start writing right now, immediately. Don't waste the time. Yes, Pavitra, as of now, these are enough. Next weekend onwards, I'll also keep on giving you more answers to write and practice, apart from what you will have as a weekly test also. Great. Okay, guys, that's all for today. Let's meet in the next weekend on Saturday with more new topics. And my expectation would be to, you know, from you would be to revise, read, practice, and of course, also take proper sleep, take care of your health. That's all for me for this session, guys. Let's meet in the next week. Till then, Jai Hind.